Combat Arena by Games Workshop. This is a game that, similarly to Space Marine Adventures, which I reviewed last week, is self-contained. Yes, it comes from the company that produces the most famous miniature-based wargame in the world, but for Combat Arena, everything that you need to play is in the box. You do not need to assemble and paint large armies. It comes with 5 plastic miniatures that are very simple to assemble. If I could do it, so can you. And everything else that you need, again, to play the game is in here. Gameplay seems to be very similar, if not virtually identical, to a game called Gore Chosen that came out a couple of years ago. I discovered that looking for information about Combat Arena online, but I haven't played Gore Chosen, so I cannot compare. Now, in Combat Arena, we're going to have 2 to 4 players that are going to fight in this hex-based arena. You're gonna move from space to space, and you're gonna try to reach a position in which you can attack the opponent and inflict as much damage as possible. Rules are simple. The victory condition is the classic one: last miniature standing wins the game. These spaces here are impassable, but if a game effect pushes you over one, bzzz, then you are dead. The miniatures are detailed and nice. Probably people more into the hobby side of things will want to paint them. Again, I don't paint miniatures, and luckily enough, they're different enough when it comes to shape that I don't need to paint them. I mean, I can tell them apart very easily. What is a little bit of a problem in the production is the fact that facing is important. Each miniature should always face an edge, and the 3 axis that the miniature is facing and the axis projected from it are the front, side, and the rest is the rear. Problem is, which side is this miniature right now facing? Looking at the line, which is one of the traditional indicators, this would be the front side, these two also front side, but it's really pointing to a side and trying to shoot at that side. So basically you will have to choose which side you consider as facing. This could have been easily solved if there was a little triangle etching the bases, or the base was hexagonal shaped, and again with one of the sides of the hexagon marked somehow, but it's not that big of a deal. So you can play with 2, 3, or 4 players, and suppose we have a mega arena, then we have 4 characters there. Each character has a unique character card that tells you the special ability, the unique action that each character has available. For example, you will see, you can simply pause and read those special abilities, those unique actions from there. Then each character has a track where you record the health that a character loses. As you lose health points, this marker will go down. When it reaches the bottom and it needs to go further, then you place a 1 marker there, and it goes back to the new maximum, and you continue like this, and you're dead when basically this thing is so full and you cannot go further down. Now, of course, this could have been solved with a single track, say, going around here, but I like that it does create a sense of acceleration as it goes, as the track gets shorter and shorter. I think it's thematically works. You have different attacks. You have a range attack and you have a melee attack. They're also identified by a different template of where they can attack, and they have a dark area and a light area, and they attack differently, and the dark area is where you're most powerful. As you can see, different characters have different combat templates. Again, very important because they apply to the front of the character. Each template has a box that indicates the attack stats of the type of attack, and you start with the healthy side visible. There are game effects that may move this marker here. Now, if that is the case, the healthy side is covered, and you apply the stats on the box that is now visible, which are not nearly as good as the original one, but let's be optimistic. Remember, we start from here. Each character also has a level of energy that is indicated on that board there, and there will be game effects that will allow you to recover energy, to acquire energy, or to spend energy. The level of energy that you have here, the number indicated here, is the number of initiative cards that you will use each round. Each character comes with a number of initiative cards that match the symbol on the board of the player. At the beginning of each round, each player takes a number of cards equal to their current energy value, and you put them all together from all players, and you shuffle them together, and that creates the initiative deck. That means that then during the round you will flip a card, and the card whose character is the character indicated by that symbol, the symbol initiative card, will activate, and then you draw the next initiative card, and so on and so forth. That means the characters do not necessarily go always in the same order. Actually, they'll rarely do so. You may have a character activating several times, but then, oopsie, not many cards are left in the initiative deck, and the character won't be able to activate for a while. You also have a deck of action cards. Each player will have a hand of action cards. They can be used for one of three things, and there may be an energy cost indicated here. It's pretty simple, really. The game is card driven. When it is your turn, based on the card drawn from the initiative deck, you play a card and you choose one of the three sections. If you choose the movement, will wonders ever cease? You will move by up to that number of axes, and there may be restrictions here. In this case, there is no restriction. When it comes to direction, other movements are a little more restrictive. But you move, and there may be other effects also connected to the move. You simply apply whatever it says there. For other effects here, again, you do what it says. Sometimes there may be a reactive effect and they react into combat. And in many cases, you will want to attack. When you perform an attack, you will roll the number of dice indicated in the attack section. Plus, again, you may apply other effects. But the general idea is that you will take a number of dice and you will roll them and say, for example, oh, I have this character here, this character here, and she is attacking using the range attack, and she's in range of the template C2. How the target is 2 spaces away in a straight line, precisely like the template says that it's okay to. And I'm using the dark blue section, so I roll the number of dice indicated on the action card. Suppose it is 3. I roll those dice, and then I check how many dice show the number to hit or higher. With the dark blue area, using a range attack, then the number to hit is 4. So each die that shows 4 or more is a hit. In this case, I scored 2 hits. Each hit would give the number of wounds indicated here, which is in this case 4. That would be 8 points, unless the opponent manages to play a card from their hand that has a reactive effect that allows them to eliminate, to prevent that effect. So this is very simple. This is an idea. Oh, if you score no hits when you attack, then I guess you're getting really mad, and that gets you a boost in energy. You're readying yourself for a counter attack. But the general idea is this: you put together initiative cards at the beginning of a round based on your energy. Draw initiative cards, activate your characters to move or to attack or to do other things that the cards say. Resolve the attacks by rolling dice. Be the last character alive in the arena, and you will win the game. Well, not if you are the character, but if you control that character. I think you get what I'm saying. So from what I see online, Combat Arena is really pretty much exactly the same game as Gore Chosen. I don't know what happened there, why they re-implemented that idea in such a similar fashion. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But I guess if I had Gore Chosen already and I picked a combat arena at a convention, I was like, ooh, an arena game, and I found out it was the same game, I may have been disappointed. On the other hand, well, I don't have Gore Chosen, so I'm okay with Combat Arena. And these days, there is so much more information out there that you probably will know before you actually pull the trigger on the game. And then you know if you want to get a new version of Gore Chosen with different components and with different miniatures and characters. I assume the different miniatures and characters. But as is, the game is fun. The game is, well, is moves fast because there isn't much that you can do each turn, move, attack. But you still have actually interesting decisions. It's not simply move and attack. Well, it is, but if you do it in a way that maximizes the capabilities of your hand, that you're trying to identify opportunities when it is the right time to have that killer play, which may leave you exposed because then you don't have that card that maybe has some nice defensive reactive effects. So it is, yes, move and attack and ping ping ping, but in a way that has hand management that gives you more control, more ability to plan, which to me is great. However, then, of course, the dice rule, the dice dominate, and that brings that element of randomness, which is, there is an element in hand management, but again, you can manage that. But the dice, and again, there are some game effects that will allow you to influence the dice a little bit, but ultimately, if the dice hate you, then so be it. There's nothing you can do. That element of chance is going to be there, is important. I was going to say massive. Yeah, I'm going to say massive. It's massive, but not to the point that the game is entirely random, at least to me, because each time you can still try to maximize your chances for success, and then you always fail. Fine, happened to me. But when I play a combat game, I know what I mean for, and I'm okay with tolerating fairly substantial amounts of randomness. Now, the game is player elimination, so actually if you're playing, say, a 4-player game, everybody against everybody, it can get, well, you can be eliminated early, and I don't know that that's all that fun. This is an unusual mechanic that we have for the 21st century. It used to be standard. Heck, the father of all bad games is Monopoly, and then you may just be functionally out of the game for the last hour. This is not that intense, but it may be in a 4-player game, you're eliminated early, and then these 3 other players go on for a while, and then when it gets to 2 players left, well, they may be there maneuvering for a position for a while before a lot happens. So I'm a little bit worried about that. On the other hand, you really need more than 2 characters on the board, because otherwise, well, there's not much going on. So to me, the game ideally is play with 2 players that are controlling 2 characters each. I like that. To me, that's the best because you have interesting interactions with only 2 characters, really, are just shooting against each other. And I know where you are. I don't have to worry so much about being outflanked. It's very hard to pull off rear attacks when you only have 2 players, but then when you have teams working together, well, I'm trying to find the perfect position, but as I do so, I have to worry about you or trying to outflank me, the other character is trying to attack me from somewhere else. That chaos, that tension really is something that is fun to me. On the other hand, if you're playing the game as written, then it gets to the point where sooner or later it will turn into a game with only 2 characters, and gameplay to me becomes less limited, less compelling. I'm almost thinking you could play a set amount of time, of real time, or a set amount of turns, and at the end of that you see who has the least wounds, and that player or team wins. This way you don't have to do play elimination, or even if you do, then the game doesn't drag too long, which is a little bit of a concern. But other than that, the game is pretty fun. I like the interaction, the hand management, the fighting. Again, with 2 characters on the board is a little more limited and less interesting. And if you play the game as written, there will be a time where the game does that, which can feel anticlimactic, but it may also feel in the right spirit, with the right mental perspective, the final showdown. And actually, if you play with multiple players, multiple characters, when the final showdown arrives, these two heroes should have a dent or two. So the game shouldn't last too long at that point, as the heroes already weakened, they have wounds, etc., etc., etc. Hitting the opponent is not that hard, inflicting damage is not that hard, and I like that, because rather than a game in which you're just maneuvering for position for an hour and then delivering that murder hit, is rather you have a constant... It's like 1,000 paper cuts. You're constantly hitting, attacking, doing some damage, but then the acceleration element that you have on the wound track still creates a sense of tension, so that the constant inflicting of small wounds does not feel repetitive. So in general, I like Combat Arena. I don't think it works equally well with all numbers of players, just because of the different interaction on the board. The interaction is a lot more interesting with more figures on the board, but in general, it's simple, it's intuitive, it's fun. You are using big weapons to deliver mighty blows to the characters of your friends, and you're getting hit in the process. What's not to love about that? It's a combat arena game. It's right there in the title. There's no possibility for misunderstanding. You know what you're in for, and this is the kind of game that you're looking for. Well, this is a solid representation of this style of game. Combat Arena, not for everybody maybe, a lot of randomness, but definitely in general a fun game.